I look at some of these other managers and I'm going in a different direction. I do actually think that some of these numbers are a little sharp. One of the things that I looked at was preseason playoff probabilities for these random ball clubs and then where they stand now. And the Mets have been the biggest disappointment, not far behind the St. Louis Cardinals. And so the fact that those two managers are the first two listed here, where Showalter is 3-1 to be the first manager fired, Oliver Marmol for the Cardinals is at 4-1. Then you get into Davey Martinez at 5-1, Bud Black, David Ross, etc. I think Marmol is probably the likeliest candidate here because he's the youngest manager in Major League Baseball, and things really fell apart sort of, under his control. Meanwhile, with Showalter, he's been doing this for more than 2 decades. He has an incredibly positive reputation. And yes, this season has been an absolute disaster. But you also feel like that if anyone deserves the benefit of the doubt or someone deserves an opportunity to get out of the mess that maybe they've had some small action creating, then it probably is Showalter. The Cardinals don't necessarily have those luxuries. And I would argue the Cards have been almost as big of a disappointment as the Mets, Joe.
I get why Showalter is the favorite to be the first manager fired. I just don't agree with it. It just feels like a New York thing. Mets fans are calling for something to happen. The owner calls a press conference last week, and they're expecting firings, and it doesn't happen, and they're asking about Showalter's job security. And I know it means nothing, but it is 1 year after he wins the NL Manager of the Year. So that would be a story. NL Manager of the Year to then fired midseason, the first manager fired the following season. So because the New York angle and the questions being asked, tough media market, I get why Showalter's a favorite. I disagree with it. I agree with you. I wrote down Marmol. You want to talk about underperforming teams? You're in an awful division, and you're in last place. You're 15 games under 500 with this roster. Now, would they pull the plug in his second season? And your case, Ed, about why you don't make that move in San Diego, well, couldn't we say the same thing about the Cardinals? Would they win 93 games last year? So is this Marmol's fault? Jake would know better than us, lifelong Cardinals fan. Do you sense that they're going to make some sort of a move at manager? We've seen it in the past where it was a bit of a surprise, and I don't think this would be a surprise, but it's been a bit of a surprise when they just have the manager be the fall guy.
I don't think so. I think the management, like Mozeliak and the owners, I think they love Marmol because, Schilt was expedited out of St. Louis because he didn't agree with the management style and he wanted to do things differently and take a different approach to the hitting philosophies and the guys on the mound and blah, 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 blah. And Marmol's just their yes man. So, I don't think they're going to get him out of there because he listens and he follows the quote-unquote Cardinal way. And so I think they're going to keep him, and anything else, they're going to get up there at the end of the year and this season was disappointing, but next season we have guys coming back from injury, and that's as good as making a big trade or a big signing, and we really feel like continuity is the best thing for this ball club, and then they'll finish there in the division next year too.
Let's just talk about what to expect for people that don't bet Summer League. Is it normal to see nearly the entire board be as close as one possession? And you're saying 180s is high. What is the norm? And at what number would you say it's inflated? And you throw out moneyline dogs. Is that just embrace the variance? Is that what we should be doing with Summer League? That basically anything can happen. It's so unpredictable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is, college all-star G League level for the most part. I mean, you see some big names out there, second-year pros, third-year pros, the highly touted rookies, but a lot of these guys by the end of the next week aren't going to be playing anymore. They're going to get one game and they're going to, sit and enjoy Vegas for a little bit. So I wouldn't expect when these numbers get out to 5.5, 6.5, it's going to be a bit too rich for me. And I'm just immediately going to look to blind bet the underdogs. I don't know if I'm going to touch the Hornets because they didn't look so great. I believe they played in Utah. They, I think, lost both games, and Brandon Miller looked a little out of sorts. But for the most part, I'm going to be blindly betting moneyline underdogs, plus 200 or greater. You're going to see if a team wins big today, their next game, that's the only sample that you're seeing. So they're immediately going to get a huge bump in the market because, oh, look, they just beat this team by 20, and the team that lost is going to be bumped down. But you don't know who's going to be playing in that next game. I think betting right before post when you know who's playing and who's starting, that's key. And I would just honestly look at blind betting underdogs at over 2 possessions because, again, it's glorified G League. This isn't necessarily the highest level of competition, so embrace some variance.
You're going to have a bad year every now and again as you sort of regroup and figure out what the direction of the franchise is going forward. Talk about the Vikings. Like, they've done a lot of really good things this offseason. You like the moves they've made. It's nothing critical. It's just they are going to be off to a shaky start because it's going to take them a little bit, with the Kirk Cousins contract and certain positions being bereft of talent. It is something that's going to require them to take some time to get going. That's fine, but you just love the direction of the franchise, and it's not bad to start thinking about 2024, 2025 futures and backing them then.
Don't tell anyone, but the Commanders finished 1 game behind the Giants last year. It doesn't, the way we talk about those teams, it doesn't feel like that at all. And if the Commanders got better in any way, I'm with you. It felt like everything was falling right for the Giants. And then the Commanders sell their last place. Well, they had a 500 year. They're not that bad. If they got a little bit better, I can absolutely see them leapfrogging the Giants this season.
I agree. I think the biggest question mark, and I find it interesting that the books don't have any Sam Howell props listed. So it's like, do they think there's going to be some type of quarterback controversy here? I have no idea. I find that a little interesting, but maybe I'm looking too far into that. But everything I've heard about Sam Howell is that he is going to be really good. And I love Jahan Dotson. Of course, we all know about Terry McLaurin. Chase Young is back. That defense is really good. So I definitely think I'm higher on the Commanders than the Giants for sure.
If you're power ranking quarterbacks in that division, Aaron, maybe with Sam Howell, it's a little bit challenging. But if you're power ranking wide receiver cores, Washington's not in last place in that division, right?
Yeah, we can move on from Zeke. It's okay. We can move on from Dalvin Cook. Say goodbye to Leonard Fournette. The amount of running backs that are changing positions, and nobody's overreacting for the most part. There were some people, oh my God, Dalvin Cook, how do you get rid of him? Yeah, but I think we're all smarter than that. For the most part, people are like, yeah, it's time, and you don't want to overpay that position. I'll overpay quarterback, wide receiver 1, pass rusher, offensive line. I'll do that, but we're all now smart enough to understand that, no, the gap between RB1 and RB2 in most cases isn't all that much.